Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, welcome back to the second episode of the Sonic 2 playthrough. And we are now in the second zone of the game, Chemical Plant Zone. And folks, I actually don't mind this zone, I like it. I think it's pretty neat, I think the music's bitchin'. And I do like that in Sonic Generations they remade Chemical Plant Zone. And if I'm not mistaken, it was also in Sonic Mania. And the Sonic Mania version's pretty cool. Kind of gives it a more unique spin. But yeah, so I mentioned in part 1 how I used to struggle with this zone, and when I was first playing Sonic 2, I would usually turn the Genesis off around the Chemical Plant. And I want to say that was probably... It probably had a lot to do with Act 2 more than anything, because Act 1, you can breeze through it pretty quickly, as you see I just did. But yeah, that's already the end of Act 1, folks. And it was enough points to get a continue. I wasn't sure if I had enough points at the end of any of the acts to do that yet, but if you get 10,000 points at the end, like if your total score comes up to 10,000 points, you'll get a little continue man. And those things come in handy toward the end of the game. Whenever I was recording it, I don't think I really had that much issue with it. Oh yeah, when I was doing research for this game, I'll pull this shit up. Look at this shit. It says Sonic 2 came out. According to Google, Sonic 2 came out on the Super Nintendo. I don't remember that ever happening. Then again, I wouldn't remember that happening even if it did happen, because I wasn't born yet. But yeah, I like Act 2 a lot more than I used to. I used to hate it because it'd be really easy to get stuck here if you didn't know what you're doing. But once you kind of know what you're doing, you'd be surprised how quickly you can play through Sonic 2. You can play through it in a sitting, and if you know what you're doing, it'd probably only take about an hour, maybe an hour and a half at the most. When I didn't know what I was doing, I would say I do remember one specific time back in 2007 where it took me about an hour to get to the halfway point in the game. Oh yeah, and this is one of those, you see me going down them pipes. What is this, a Mario game? Oh yeah, and this is the first game that Sonic 1 had this thing called a speed cap where he couldn't run faster than the screen would allow him to. The screen was programmed to stay locked onto him, and if you go fast enough, you see him just kind of go off toward the further part of the screen a little bit more. And that was one of the special stages I did not access when I was playing. as you can tell, Tails actually helped me out there. But yeah, once I see that purplish pink looking shit, I'm already like, ooh, I need to be a little more careful getting through here. Is that stuff in the game is referred to as Mega Mac, and this part right here was the offending part that turned off the Sega Genesis during many of my attempts at Sonic 2 in the early days. I don't know why, but for some reason I used to really struggle with that section. Sometimes I'm still pretty stupid about it and I'll end up getting smashed right there, but it's really not that big of a deal, and thank God for whatever that thing was, that little set of platforms, because I probably would have fallen to my death right there. And there's an Eggman or Robotnik again, and this is actually a pretty easy boss, and if you know what you're doing, you can just keep jumping on him more than once when he's in one spot, and you gotta watch out for Tails though, because he can kind of fuck you over sometimes, and if he ends up getting a hit in when you try to, you'll end up falling to your death more than likely. And I've fallen to my death many a times in that section where the platforms disappear or move. But anyways, folks, that's the end of Chemical Plant Zone. That didn't take us very long to get through at all. And we are now on our way to the third zone in the game, Aquatic Ruin. And honestly, I feel like this zone looks beautiful. It's very aesthetically pleasing. The music's pretty solid too. The boss fight's easy as heck, as you'll see later. But the rest of the zone's just kind of eh. This is one of the few zones in Sonic 2 that I feel like kind of drags a little bit. And this, for the longest time, used to be another zone that would make me turn off the GameCube when I got the Mega Collection and played Sonic 2, because I would drown in these underwater sections a lot. Especially in Act 2. And you see right now I'm getting ready to run out of air, but I don't know if I managed to make it over there. Yes, I did it. And that was one of the bigger things I had problems with in Sonic 1, but I have a lot of problems with Sonic 1. It is one of my lesser favorites in the series, as I've probably indicated more than once on my playthrough. Looks like I might run out of air again, though. Do it knowing, yeah, that's the stuff. You can get that air bubble. Never really cared for those things, those little bouncy spring things, but they're a different kind of spring, and I don't like them. I mean, they're not really that big of a pain, but back in the day when I was first playing Sonic 2, they sure was. At this point, I'm not really sure what I'm doing, because I know the end of the level was just to the right, but I think what I might have done was I was just going back looking for rings to see if I could get another special stage, and I just lost all my rings right there, so it didn't even matter. But anyways, folks, that's the end of Act 1 of Aquatic Ruin, and it was a pretty quick chug through there. Now, I also wanted to point out a fun fact. In the early builds of Sonic 2, Aquatic Ruin was referred to as Neo Green Hill Zone. And that's what it's called in the beta build of Sonic 2, which after I finally got a computer and emulators, I was able to see what all the fuss was that my friend was making about these emulators and the early build of Sonic 2. And I wasted a lot of time doing research on this game back in the day when I was younger. And it always seemed to me like I could never find a shortage of info. And this was also around a time where I was discovering what the internet was. And this was back around like 2008, 2009. When I first heard about the emulators, and when I was basically introduced to the internet, because that was the year I discovered YouTube, and that was the year that I discovered a lot of cool shit, and I just never looked back. But anyways, one thing that I did waste a lot of time on at that point in my life was learning about Sonic 2. I don't know why, because it wasn't... I mean, it's my third favorite in the franchise, but I've just spent more time learning about stuff about this game than any other. And also, I learned that you can speedrun this, kinda. You can, like, stand on top there, where I am now, and spin dash and keep doing that, but I didn't know that when I was recording this. But yeah, this is actually kind of a dumb boss fight once you get good at staying on the top of those platforms. I'm honestly making it look a little bit worse than it actually was, but it looks like that's the tail end of it right then and right there, folks. And we'll come over here and we'll get that capsule and open it, and the animal buddies come out and they're all just scattering around and doing their thing. And that is the end of Act 2 of Aquatic Ruin Zone. And we are now in the 4th zone of the game. A little bit of a voice crack. But anyways, we're in the 4th zone of the game, Casino Night Zone, folks. And speaking of everything I learned about the early builds of Sonic 2, Casino Night Zone got a complete and total overhaul from what it originally looked like. It did not start off looking anything like this. And honestly, I really like what they were going for in that version of it, because it's a lot more bright and colorful, and it has a nice aesthetic to it. And I wish they would have went with that version, but this one looks fine. Fine enough, I guess. Fine enough, No, I'm not getting copyright strikes. It's bad enough that I already have copyright strikes against the cover songs I recorded on the channel, and I will not break into song on this channel unless there's a requirement for it when I am recording actual music. But then again, I could change my mind. Everybody's changing their minds. 69 rings, nice. But that was, it looks like those 69 rings were wasted, though, because I did not get that emerald. Oh yeah, there's one of those, and this is like a side thing you can do in Casino Night, and holy crap, I actually nailed that one. Got all 3 Tails icons. But you can get rings doing that, but you can also lose rings doing that. And there's a bonus level in the sequel, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, that's kind of like that, but a little bit different. But I think it's based off the Casino Night thing that's going on here. But yeah, you can gain and lose rings doing that. If you end up with 3 Robotnik symbols, you end up like a bunch of spikes start surrounding you guys and start losing a bunch of rings. I can't remember, I don't know how many it is to be exact, but it's a lot. But we're now in the 2nd act, and things are actually moving along pretty smoothly here in this playthrough, if I do say so myself. Never been able to get up there, never been able to do that. Maybe once, but I think I was using debug mode. So that doesn't count. But yeah, this is a pretty cool, honestly, Casino Night's pretty cool. It makes me think of casinos, and casinos make me think of Vegas. And hey, another one that I didn't get. Man, I really sucked at these special stages, didn't I? But apparently I did. Because I didn't end up getting the 7th and final Chaos Emerald. I know this for a fact, and you'll see it later, but I'll bring it up anyway because I do that. But I don't end up getting the 7th and final Chaos Emerald until the 8th zone in the game. But it's probably for the best, because I don't like to get Supersonic early in Sonic 2, because once you get all 7 emeralds, you turn into Supersonic, which is like a yellow and flashing, overpowered Sonic. For those who don't know at home. But yeah, I don't like to do that early in the game because it's kind of annoying and you don't have an option to get out of it. And it drains all of your rings. And I'm not sure if I was able to, nope, 4 rings shy. But anyways, we're now in the next Eggman Robotnik battle here, and this one's fairly easy too. You'll notice almost all of the Eggman boss battles in this game are pretty easy once you get the hang of them. And I mean, I guess maybe it's not fair for me to say that, because there's a lot of people who probably aren't that good at this game, or people who have never played it before, or people who've only played it a handful of times. See, I've played it countless times. And I was just having a flashback to this one time. It was like 2 or 3, I want to say it was 2 or 3 days before I graduated high school. a bunch of people were bringing all kinds of cool shit in on the last, like, 2 days there. One of my friends brought in a Sega Genesis, and they brought Sonic 2 in. And the rule was that you had to give the controller to the next person who had, like, this was in one of our classes. And the rule was if you lost a life, you had to pass the controller over to the next person. I made it halfway through the game before I ended up dying. But anyways, folks, that is the end of Casino Night Act 2, and we'll see you in Part 3.